this is gov.uk, and we're in the policy occupied Palestinian territories, and there are two of them. You note here, it up here says last updated 31st of October 2023. However, when we come to the both policies, this one says March 2020. So we'll look at that to run. Okay, so this is the policy that the Home Office caseworkers, immigration lawyers and judges consider when assessing asylum. Why UK should grant protection? Is it because there is a risk of life because of humanitarian violations? Now, I want to look at this page here, which is page 9 of 150. I'll just take you through it. So it says here, the occupied Palestinian territories include the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, right? So first, the West Bank is split into 3 areas. Area A, governed by the Palestinian Authority. Area B, by the PA and Israel administration. And Area C, under Israeli control. Gaza is controlled by Hamas. And it says there is no Israeli presence in the territory. We'll come back to that. And East Jerusalem is governed by Israel. All right. Palestinian residents in Gaza and West Bank have permanent status in these territories, but cannot generally reside in East Jerusalem. A Palestinian registered in Gaza may visit, but cannot generally live in the West Bank. And then a Palestinian in East Jerusalem have permanent residence in Israel, though this must be periodically reviewed and may be revoked by the Israeli authorities. So let's look at the way Palestinian civilians live in the West Bank and Gaza. So it says Palestinians residents in the West Bank and Gaza have their personal details recorded on the population registry, a computerized database administered by the PA in Ramallah. But oversight ultimately is with the Israeli authorities, who give the 9-digit ID card. And then it goes on. Israel controls all entry and exit points in the West Bank, and all but one into Gaza, which is controlled by Egypt and Hamas. Israel also restricts the freedom of movement for Palestinians into, between, and within the protected Palestinian territories through the use of temporary and non-temporary checkpoints, as well as a system of entry and exit permits. So we'll see in a minute what it looks like, what kind of permits you have to have, and then you finally manage to get the permit, and then you also get to a checkpoint, and what happens. Let's continue. There are different type of permits depending on a reason to travel. The application process can be slow, and many are rejected. Sources considered that there are a number of human rights concerns in the West Bank, including land confiscation by Israeli settlers, restriction of movement, and arbitrary arrest and detention. There are also a number of socio-economic problems, including high levels of unemployment and inadequate health care, access to health care. Sources agree that the human rights, security, and humanitarian situations in Gaza are difficult and much worse than in West Bank. While there is no open conflict between Israel and Hamas, this is 2020, of course. Even then, though, the Great March of Return protests in 2018 along the fence separating Gaza from Israel continue, though in smaller numbers. Israeli defense forces are reported to have used excessive force in attempting to disperse the demonstrators away from the border, resulting in hundreds of gunshot injuries and scores of deaths. The human rights are restricted by Hamas. This is where we come back into Gaza, and other armed groups in the Gazan territory. Palestinians who openly criticize Hamas may be arrested and detained, and torture is reported to be common. Sources also explain that humanitarian situation is worsening due to the ongoing Israel blockade, which is Israel controlling the Gaza border, and the internal Hamas and Palestinian Authority conflict, although there are multiple organizations working to alleviate the difficult conditions. Now